Да,
Так, говорить мне надо тише, да? Хорошо. Лучше вот здесь держать или... Мгм. Мгм. Так, концентрировались. Надо говорить «поехали», чтобы я начала.
Начали.
Good afternoon, dear Chairman, dear ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Elena Molokova, gynecologist, endocrinologist, and practicing preventive medicine and health coaching from Russia, Moscow. This presentation has been prepared jointly with Astramed Limited, Russia. Topic of my presentation is acne and psychological problems of young patients, cause or effect. Why it is so important for me as a specialist? Acne is perhaps one of the most common diseases in modern dermatology and cosmetology. Every day, all over the world, thousands and thousands of patients, especially young people, look at the mirror with regret and despair. They try to solve the problem on their own, turn to specialists, but don't have not a very good effect and have relapses. What is the nature of acne? It is local and genetically determined disorder of the sebaceous gland, follicular hyperkeratosis and hyperplasia of the sebaceous gland that cause the inevitable conditions for the inflammation. Of course, many factors work as a triggers, but ultimately it comes to two targets, the keratinocyte and the sebaceous gland. First, we need to manage the problem locally to control the secretion of the sebaceous gland and proliferation and desquamation of keratinocytes. And in parallel, to conduct lifestyle style management to reduce the impact of triggers. Young men today has to face many challenges, such as a self-affirmation in a society, separation from the family, etc., etc. Sometimes it leads to the development of the serious emotional and mental disorders, up to anorexia and even suicidal behavior. Emotional triggers, can you see on this slide, can involve adrenal and ovarian axis of the hormonal cascade, which ultimately affect the functioning of the sebaceous gland. Both adrenal and ovarian androgens by enzyme 5-alpha reductase are converted to dehydrotestosterone, which is the main stimulator of sebum production. Stress also can affect the skin directly, corticalibrin receptors found on membranes of keratinocytes, mast cells, and melanocytes. Corticotropin releasing hormone increase inflammatory reaction, causes degradation of mast cells and histamine secretion. And as a result, we see the redness, edema, inflammation. Stress often triggers another important cascade, the metabolic pathway. Stress-induced overeating dramatically increases production of insulin and insulin-like growth factor, IGF-1. Insulin and IGF-1 suppress the activity of the metabolic transcription factor forehead box 1 FOXO1, the negative co-regulator of androgen receptor, and activate the target of rapamycin complex 1, mTORC1, the key regulator of anabolism and lipo and sebogenesis. Stress, overeating, and acne, vicious circle again. And in a few words, about another way that closes this vicious circle of the disease, so-called gut-brain-skin axis. Psychological distress alone, on a combination with the Western diet, cause alteration of gut motility and microbiota profile. Loss of normal microbial biofilms, bifidobacterium in particular, causes intestinal permeability and endotoxemia. Inflammation, oxidative stress is increased, insulin sensitivity is decreased. Vicious circle of acne is in place. For specialists, it's very important that treatment helps to break this vicious circle. But let's see what happens in everyday life. A young girl goes to a cosmetologist. And dear colleagues, it may be strange, but in Russia, the problem is that the most of the so-called cosmetologists are even not doctors. They are paramedics, or maybe doctors, not dermatologists. And basically, they offer for the clients so-called cleansing, peelings, lasers, dermabrasion, and so on. All these procedures do not affect the pathogenesis and the cause of the disease, and additionally injure the skin. Frequent relapses and the absence of a persistent effect force cosmetologists to refer the patients to related another specialists, such as a gynecologist, endocrinologist, and even psychotherapists. It is very difficult for the young people to go this long, long way, and often they do not go it. The result of this strategy is a low complaints, high relapse rate, and again increasing stress. What we propose another approach based on the principles of the epigenetic therapy. Epigenetics study how different factors of environmental change the activity of genes without intervention in the DNA structure. For skin, we use transdermal epigenetic therapy based on the unique epigenetic agent forskolin. For body and mind, we use non-pharmacological approach, health coaching, including low-carb healthy diet, paleo, LCHF protocol, stress management, and of course, positive lifestyle model. Transdermal epigenetic therapy for the treatment of acne was developed by the Tegar laboratory in Spain and presented with a complete line for the professional procedures and home care. Active ingredients, vitamins, and minerals standardize the environment of the skin, which helps to eliminate follicular hyperkeratosis. Action that we get is anti-inflammatory, seroregulatory, anti-comedogenic. Forskolin. What is the forskolin? It is a biologically active compound, diterpene, that is produced by plant Coleus forskolin. It's well known as a food supplement and as a sportive medicine, as an agent for weight management. Laboratory Tagore was able to use the properties of forskolin to regulate the exchange of triglycerides locally in the sebaceous gland. It increases cyclic adenosine monophosphate level in the cell and push the biochemical cascade aimed at controlling the sebaceous gland. Normalizes the work of proteolytic enzymes involved in the natural process of desquamation of the stratum corneum cells. Action of forskolin is directed to the cause of acne, hyperkeratosis, and sebaceous gland dysfunction. It allows the patients to get a quick effect, not long before. Then we can block the action of triggers such as a metabolic, hormonal, and microbiotic effect, and at last to break down the vicious circle. Let's look on the results of one of our patients, the results of using the only 1 month the home treatment with forskolin. Must say that it was the only locally home therapy with forskolin, and online coaching was carried out because it was happened during the coronavirus epidemic. And during this time the offline treatment was prohibited. I think it's very good results. So, colleagues, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear chairman, let me summarize my presentation. Acne is the most common disease among young patients that is stress-induced and stress-produced on both sides. Conventional treatment options have insufficient efficacy, high relapse rate, and also increased stress. Combination of transdermal epigenetic therapy with forskolin with the health coaching is a favorable treatment choice for young acne patients, with, especially with psychological problems, due to its high efficiency, simplicity, and easy of use. This approach helps us to receive very good clinical effect, to reduce stress, and at last break down the vicious circle of the acne disease. Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. From Russia, with love.